Tien Cong Tran, Ph.D. Comparison between Heidegger and metaphysics. We are standing in front of a metaphysics which is disappearing and a future thought which is outlining a leap out of metaphysics. Because we still live in the world of metaphysics and the future thought is taking its first steps, let us clarify the differences between metaphysics and the future thought. Chapter 1. Time, Space, and History. Metaphysics thinks beings. It discusses time, space, and history in the perspective of beings. A being is present in a duration of time. This time can be measured by seconds, minutes, hours, months, years. A being occupies a space. This place can be determined as a clear position in a village, a town, a country, a planet. History clearly show the present, the future and the past of a being. Time, space, and history are measured and presented exactly and scientifically. This exact and scientific is valuable the same for everybody. This value can be called objective, that means it does not depend on each individual. Heidegger thinks being. He discusses time, space, and history in the perspective of being. Being is being at each moment and each location according to the realization of being of each person. And each person realizes being differently from others and each person himself realizes being differently each moment. An hour for a joyful person is different from an hour for a sorrowful person. Therefore, there is the saying, 1 day without meeting is equal to 3 years. A mile for a tired man is different from a mile for a healthy man. History of being is a mingle of the present, the past, and the future. Being, or life, is a flowing river. That is the subjective time, space, and history. Chapter 2. The Step Back. Traditional philosophy wonders before the appearance of beings, this appearance is considered being of beings. Philosophy thinks being in this point of view. According to Heidegger, the appearance of beings is founded on the appearance of being. From this point of view, Heidegger brings thinking from the appearance of beings back to the appearance of being. It is possible to say that is the step back to rootedness, the appearance of being is the root of the appearance of beings. We have seen that a thing happens in the light of this root is different from a thing does not happen in that light. Therefore, we can say there is thing and thing. A thing in the eye of technology is different from a thing as the place of being. The fourfold is the foundation or the root of man. In Country Path Conversations, Heidegger talks about the wonderful and the strange. The strange precedes the wonderful. The wonderful is being which is thought according to traditional philosophy, and the strange is being which is thought according to Heidegger. Heidegger cites Trickle's saying about man as the stranger on the earth. The stranger is the one who looks for the strange, and the strange is the fourfold. Chapter 3. Abyss and Ground. Metaphysics seeks the ground of beings. Being is thought as ground of beings. This ground is often understood as lying in beings. Therefore, there is no difference between being and beings. Being is the kernel, the base of beings. However, sometimes the base does not lie in beings, the workman does not lie in a vessel, the creator does not lie in a created thing. Heidegger's fourfold is not the ground in the above meaning. Therefore, it is possible to say that the fourfold is not the ground of beings. Because it is not the ground of beings, the fourfold can be called abyss. Abyss is Abgrund in German, Grund is ground, the suffix ab means no. The fourfold happens in a thing, but it is not a part of a thing. More clearly, the fourfold happens in man's side of a being, and hence there is a thing. The fourfold does not have the character of making like a workman or the creator, or like trees suck up soil substance for their growth. Heidegger does not think being in the direction of being as ground of beings, but in the direction of the appearance of being to man. To distinguish his own way of thinking from the way of thinking of metaphysics, Heidegger calls being abyss or no ground. To think being as foundation is to think being from and because of beings. To think being as abyss is not to think being from and because of beings, but from the appearance itself of being to man in man's side of beings. Something which is different from material, and the qualities of material, make material appear to man as a thing. This something different is totally different from material, and the qualities of material. Metaphysics does not see this something different. Sciences do not see this something different. Ordinary people do not see this something different. It is such even though the fourfold always happens to man. The fourfold is near man, it is within man, but it is very far from man, he does not see it. When he is asked about the place of the kingdom of heaven, Jesus replied that it is within man, within the questioner. The kingdom of heaven is within the questioner who does not knows it. The followers, before as well as now, go to church to look for the kingdom of heaven up in some place of the sky. Chapter 4. The Event and Beingness. Now we clearly see being as event is different being as beingness. Now we see the metaphysical is not metaphysical enough. There is the fourfold in a chalice. Without the fourfold that thing does not appear as chalice. If we say like Plato that idea chalice makes that thing appear as chalice, we have to add that the idea chalice comes from the fourfold. Therefore, it is possible to say that is a return to the foundation of metaphysics. Once Heidegger was considered the founder of existentialism. Existentialism, following Nietzsche's walking, abandons the metaphysical world to return to the physical world or existing world. Heidegger is an existentialist because he uses the term existence and discusses much about existence in being and time. This is a mistake because with existence Heidegger does not talk about the presence of beings as the term existence in the ordinary meaning. He uses the term existence to designate man's relation to being, understood as a reality different from beings. In the same manner, Heidegger is an existentialist because he uses the term being in the world. This is also a mistake because with being in the world he does not talk about world as the world of beings in the ordinary meaning. He uses the term world in being in the world to designate being, understood as a reality different from beings. When I was a student, I was taught that Heidegger was an existentialist. Chapter 5. The Event and the Gigantic. Heidegger talks about the gigantic in his discussion of technology. When man is on this shore, beings are important. There are a lot of beings. To attain a certain importance, we need a certain number of beings. The gigantic indicates the multitude or a great number of beings. There are about 7 billion people in the present world. A war with, for example, the death of 5 to 10,000 soldiers seems senseless. It can push hundreds, thousands, and millions of people into miserableness, but the number of hundreds, thousands, and millions is, in comparison with the number of 7 billions, is very small. In a nation there are more than 300 million people and only 300 people are killed or injured by guns every day, This number should not be noted. With the event there is a difference. The event happens only when is realized by humans. Each person is an important place. Everyone is precious. Chapter 6. The event and the general. Metaphysics think beings, but not a particular being, but beings as being or beings in totality. Therefore, it looks for the general or the common to beings. Categories are not for a particular being, but common for all beings. The event is something different from beings and is not common to beings. Sciences study beings. They seek what is common to beings. But today beings are divided into many different domains and each domain is given to a science. Therefore, the general is for a domain of beings. Chapter 7. Heidegger and Metaphysics. Metaphysics brings a metaphysical or an abstract added to material. But an ordinary does not need that metaphysical or that abstract to see that thing as a vessel. Therefore the abstract is not necessary. The philosopher is hard to understand, too hard to understand, and the product of their thought is not necessary, not important. Therefore, philosophy as metaphysics is a study which is disappearing. Heidegger's thought of the fourfold no longer brings something abstract, the fourfold seems concrete. This concrete brings man into a different view of things in comparison with the ordinary view. The fourfold becomes a necessity. We are able to say that if people see the fourfold, they will not cast it away, especially when they see that without it the world is evil and desolate, especially when they see that with the fourfold the world is holy, and life becomes worth to live.